Good evening, Davian. How are you doing?
This is my angry face.
Okay. Why are you angry, Davian?
I'm angry because of events that transpired.
And whose fault? And whose fault? Whose fault is it that you're angry?
The timekeepers.
And it's not the timekeepers, is it, Davian? It's your fault, isn't it? Because what cardinal sin did you make?
I trusted the timekeepers.
I don't think you did trust the
No, I didn't.
timekeepers. You
I
didn't
didn't.
stay till the end
Yes, I
of a
didn't stay.
Marvel of a
I
Marvel
didn't.
cinematic production.
Yes, I didn't stay to the end, folks. That is the biggest crime of 2021 in
Okay,
terms
so
of cinematic Marvel type things.
so to bring Davey up to speed, because he switched off as soon as the episode was over, and he never actually got to witness one of the greatest cut scenes ever in the history of the Marvel cinematic universe. Bad Davian. Bad
Yes,
Davian.
shame on. Well, to be fair, in my defense, I was traumatized.
Okay, so actually, let's just quickly go through what happened in the episode. So, just the core bits quickly. Essentially, the TVA rescue Sylvie and Loki from Lamentis before it explodes, because apparently their sweet Loki on Loki love, is going to produce some kind of mad timeline, which was going up in a vertical direction. Before that, we also saw footage of Sylvie being a child, like
Yeah.
playing with a little Valkyrie toy, and then being arrested by Renslayer, who at that point was a hunter. Um, yeah, yeah, and then Sylvie manages to escape Renslayer. Go on, Davian. You just like you want to say something?
Yeah, I must say, just starting off, I think Renslayer is a Jezebel. I do not trust her. She is a bad person.
Okay. I mean, I think she's definitely not on the right side at this point in time. It's fair to say. Yeah, they all go back to the TVA. They're all captured. They Mobius asks questions about C20. They say, "Oh, C20 went mad from what Sylvie done to her, and we had to kill her." And we're telling the truth. We really had to kill her because she was going mad and she couldn't speak properly. But
Well,
then,
they didn't say they kill her, did they? They said she died.
yeah, she died. Yeah. So,
So
sorry,
they
you're
didn't
quite,
say that they actually
yeah.
did it.
No,
But,
no, no.
it was just like, really?
You're 100% right. They said, yeah, she died because, yeah, her mind was just disintegrating. Guess what? They were liars.
What did I
Liars.
just say about Renslayer? She's a what?
I'm not going to repeat the term you used because I'm not entirely sure we
Jezebel.
can use it in 2021.
We can't use Jezebel anymore.
I'm not
Well, she's a
100%.
bad. Well, she's not a nice person.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, and then it looks like B15 also suspects that something's up as well, because B15 also got some of her old memories back from when Sylvie enchanted her. So that leads to Mobius basically stealing Renslayer's temp pad, finding out that actually C20 could say sentences and she was okay. But yeah,
Sorry, man. I have to cut you for a sec. But is it really enchanting? She's enchanting them because it seems as though she can't do anything that's not already there. So, i.e., like for instance, we've been friends since the dawn of time. So,
Lovely.
if some reason, well, feels like it,
Yeah.
yeah.
1991 was the dawn of time. Was it 92?
Yeah,
92
92,
was the dawn of time.
Yeah,
Nothing
but
existed before 1992, folks. Nothing whatsoever.
that's so true. You had Captain Planet, Teenage Mutants Ninja Turtle, GI Joe. That's about it, really. Oh, and Power
Yeah.
Rangers was just coming out. So yeah, that was it. That was 90. That was the start of everything. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, all she's doing is she's actually just showing them what's being hidden from them. She's actually showing them their real memory. So it's not like she's going in and implanting information or something that wasn't there. She's literally just showing them what's being kept from them. So showing them what's really happened to them type of thing. So I don't know if they should say she's enchanting them. I think it's more like she's like a revealer.
I mean, that's a fair comment. The reason I say enchanted is because in the comic, Sylvie Rushton does go by the name Enchantress.
Yeah, the
so
Enchanted. Yeah,
that's why I'm using the term enchanted. But yeah, and I think she even referred to it as that in the previous episode, I think. But yeah, so Mobius basically saves Loki from his time prison, and we got to see Sif, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And just got this thing going over and over where Sif is telling Loki, "You're going to be alone for the rest of your life, you lonely person, you."
But it's also weird that at one point he manages to change the time loop in the sense of what kept happening to him, because in fact it's supposed to be a memory, which means you can't alter anything that's already happened.
No,
it's already happened, so therefore you just keep repeating that same time loop over and over again. But he manages, at some point he slowly started stopping it, even like slowing it down for a bit, until he managed to actually completely stop her from attacking him, and he said what he said.
And it's the point where he actually makes a realization about himself, where he's honest about himself, is the point where actually he starts to alter what Sif does to him a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was just great to see Sif, because I mean, we never saw Sif in Ragnarok, and I think she's a bit of a favorite amongst the fans. So
yeah, but even though they're kind of lousy, though, let's face it, they don't do much. She's a bit of a lousy warrior.
Okay.
They're literally like, they're like the Power Rangers, and Thor is like the Green Ranger. He's like the only one that does anything. Like the rest of them just did nothing more than just there just to make up the numbers. Because in Thor, when they came to Earth, they did absolutely nothing but just stood there, and he got battered, and then he got his power back because he managed to, right the wrong, and he saw the more of his ways, and his powers returned to him because he proved that he was truthful and true to his powers. Well, what did they actually do in that, apart from was just there, just for drinks, refreshments? Nothing, just refreshments and cheerleading. But it was nice to see her. I'm just saying.
So far we've established that Davian hates the two main female characters. I can see a pattern.
No, Vegan, don't attack me. I don't hate. I'm just saying. It's not just her, even the guys as well too. They didn't really do
using terms like Jezebel and just picking on Sif and Renslayer.
Well, Renslayer is. I mean, come on now. She actually arrests a child, a minor, with no adult present. There is no one from the TVA who specializes in dealing with kids. She literally just treated that child because she's a variant as a grown adult. Like, yep, you're under arrest.
I think you make a good point here. The TVA should have proper safeguarding protocols for under 18s in place, just like all statutory services across the country do.
Exactly.
Where was the social worker, I ask?
Yeah, where was all the human rights folks, or the, whatever she is, we don't, because we're not even sure what planet she's
Where was her children's advocate to advocate on her behalf? I mean, all these things, they just weren't present. I mean, I think the TVA is failing dismally when it comes to safeguarding.
Big time. I think she should actually write in a complaint about that, because the way that was handled was just very, very improper.
Yeah, instead of trying to destroy the TVA and set up time bombs around the world, she should just email in a letter of complaint to HR. I think that's what I think. This is where she's gone wrong.
Yeah, tie them up in all kind of legal documents and protocols that they're going to have to, reforms that they're going to have to come through, and bill that's going to be passed. Like, Yeah, in future, Renslayer, you cannot just kidnap a child, even if she's a variant, and tell her that, she's a criminal and, in fact, she's going to be erased,
But
literally.
but you do actually touch onto a good point, even though we're laughing, joking about it. This is actually a really important point. How bad is it, even if it's a variant, to just take a child like that from a timeline, and you're probably going to prod it with your stick and do whatever you do to it, maybe turn into an agent, or I mean, that is a pretty low thing to do to a
Yeah,
child.
it's like there's no gray with them. It's just like it's just black and white. You're guilty, okay, that's it. You get erased, that's it. You're innocent, okay. Things go back to normal. That's it. Like, and I just think that, like that's a bit much.
Yeah, I think that shows actually what the TVA is really all about. Everything they do is geared towards keeping that timeline sacred. So any morality for anything else, whether it be children, women, other human beings, that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters for them is a sacred timeline. And as we've seen through history, when you take belief that seriously over
Yeah.
the importance of actual human lives, then you inevitably end up becoming the bad guy.
Yes, but it's harsh. But I mean, the good thing is if that's how they behave, and unless we see something, some kind of prequel to the reasons why they're like that, then if they do get destroyed or whatever happens to them, then you won't really feel much sympathy. So unless in the next episode they're going to reveal something about the TVA as to why they're just black and white and there's no gray area with them, then you won't feel bad when they lose, because how they treat people and how they've treated, where they've kidnapped people. So God knows how many lives they've ruined,
Yeah.
how many criminals they've possibly made. Because when you take someone from there, like for instance, like Mobius and all those folks that you've taken away from a timeline, who probably had family, friends, everything, and you took
Or
them away from
B15.
that. Yeah,
B15 B15 says to like Sylvie, like the memories, and she goes, "Oh my god, I was really happy." And the
right.
TVA have just ripped B15 from that wonderful life she had.
Right. And as we know, sometimes when people go through some kind of tragedy, like the kids, who gets affected by it, they could grow up and turn into criminals. They could grow up and do all kinds of atrocity. And that was stemmed from the tragedy that they've been through,
Yeah,
which in
trauma.
these
Yeah,
cases, yeah, were brought on by the actions of the TVA. So, in fact, maybe lots of criminals that's out there in all these parallel worlds were created by the actions of the TVA, by ripping families apart and the damage that it's probably done, because you don't know what. Maybe that person was a protector for their family and you
yeah.
took them away, they're left to fend for themselves.
Or they've
Maybe,
destroyed that entire timeline, and
yeah,
actually that person's family doesn't even exist anymore, which is even worse. Like, so
exactly.
poor B15 hasn't even got anyone to go back to potentially.
And the worst thing is, which is the worst hell, she didn't even have any memory of it. So therefore, she doesn't even know what's happened to her family. In fact, she could have possibly gone on one of her parallel where she's from one of her timeline, to go and probably catch or erase someone who's probably one of her family members, and she wouldn't have known anything
Anything's
because she
possible.
had no memory of. Yeah, she had no memory of that.
Anything's
So
possible.
it's absolutely messed up or whatever. And then when you're starting to see the fact of Renslayer's action, she didn't seem, when it was revealed about, these TVA agents finding out that their actual
Yeah.
life were a lie. They weren't created by the TVA. They actually were kidnapped, in fact, by the TVA. She didn't look surprised. She looked more
She
shocked
was.
that they
She was.
found out.
Yeah. Like, oh god, they found out. They found out. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that
Yeah.
that that's the type of thing that she actually looked. That's not like, oh my god, this is. shock to me, because if that was the case, you'd feel the same, because you'd be like, hang on, that means I'm a variant too, which means I was kidnapped too. So it seems as though she's, whatever is going on, she's in on it.
Yeah, 100%. So just get my glasses straight. Now, there was a bit as well when Mobius was talking to Loki. Did you notice a potential Blade reference?
No.
Oh my God, didn't you notice? You need to, after we finish this, you have to go back and rewatch this entire
I'm going to
episode.
rewatch that episode again, because I was too traumatized by what happened, how it.
Yep. So just to bring everybody up to speed, I did have the structure for this stream arranged totally differently. Then Davian told me that he never actually watched to the end and he never saw the end credits, which were hugely important. So I've just had to change up the way we're doing it a bit. But there's a bit where Mobius says we've had all sorts come through here. We've had Titans come through here. We've had Kree come through here, and we've had vampires come through here.
Oh yeah. I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're setting up that vampires are a very real thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Thank you, Wesley. You started it all.
I have got the mother of all flies in my room for some reason. I'm not even sure that's a fly.
That might be the TVA sending their spies in to watch.
It might be.
Oh my God. Duke, give me 1 second. Let me close my door, because someone is doing some kind of work in their house.
Yep, you go for
I can hear this loud noise outside.
Yep, you go for it. Yeah, so I'll just carry on yapping. So yeah, it looks like I thought that was a really nice Easter egg with them potentially, just saying that, there are beings like Blade out there, and we will be seeing beings like Blade soon. Nice shorts, by the way, Davian. Anyway, gonna carry on my notes. Anyway, so just to speed things along. Yeah, so they find out C20 didn't die of a memory lapse. They killed her. We then have this great scene where kind of like Mobius is telling Loki during the interview as well. Before that, telling Loki as well that, oh, we've killed them. We've killed Sylvie, and Loki seems genuinely upset by it, and he's genuinely heartbroken. Like, this is the first time which he has ever experienced true love. But it's great writing as well, because the entire theme of Loki is that he's a narcissist. So who else is he going to fall in love with but himself? It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and there's no, that's it's not really incest or anything in any way, because they're not even from the same timeline or planet. They're from a different alternate reality. So it's a-okay. I'm just saying, like, it's a-okay. Like, I mean, if me and Beyonce is brothers and sisters in this planet, but an alternate in Earth 2, we're not quite.
Okay, if you ever go time hopping or timeline hopping, shall I say, and you bump into Davina P.
Yeah.
I hope Zadil or G2 don't get it on, but I know what you're like, and you probably will.
Hey. I'm just saying, if there's no rules against it, then so be it.
There's no rules against it because they haven't been written yet.
Yeah, exactly. So therefore, it's not.
Give it time. I'm sure somebody will say, yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, the TVA Renslayer. I wouldn't put it past her.
But it's funny. Loki only finds happiness through himself ultimately, which is just prime Loki.
But that's not so bad. I mean, let's face it, even in this reality now, on this planet now, you've seen
a whole new meaning to self-love. Absolutely, yes.
Oh, that's so cool, the way you make that come up now. All fancy.
I've always done it this way.
No, it's never come up like that. or like big and bold and all of
Oh,
that.
I know
Like,
why,
the
because
big cape.
I've changed a few bits. So if I go like that, okay.
Yeah, that's how it normally is. Like, like, but the other way looks fancy. Yeah, that's just like,
We'll keep it
well,
like this. We'll keep it like this.
yeah. But no, saying that, you've got people now who marry themselves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So,
those people are weird. And
well, you wouldn't call a man like Loki, who's a god, a prince. Oh, you're weird for doing that. Yeah, it'd probably kill you.
yeah, I could imagine Thor just ripping the absolute piss out of him, for doing it. But yeah, and then so basically it all kicks off, and basically Sylvie and Mobius, not Sylvie, sorry, Mobius helps Loki break out, but then Mobius is disintegrated under prodding things. And again, you see Loki show genuine emotion again, that he's absolutely shocked that Mobius is, I think he sees Mobius as one of his few genuine friends that he's made in his life.
Like his only friend. Because the only friend that he's got is Thor, his brother. That in reality, that's the only person that really understands him. Everyone else, they have to put up with him because he's the son of Odin, he's royalty. But Mobius is the only person that will tell him the reality of his actions and call him out for stuff. So I think he respects that, and he challenges him, which is also interesting. He likes that.
Yeah, 100%. But it was just interesting to see Loki showing pure emotion twice in the space of like 5 or 10 minutes in the episode. It's like a real leap.
Yeah, but you forgot to say that the reason why Mobius got prodded with that looks like a TVA cow prod type thing, but an eraser version, is because he actually swapped his little like device with Renslayer's.
Yeah,
and he actually saw the truth that she wasn't really, her brain didn't melt from the reality of the enchantment. In fact, she actually woke up, her eyes was open, and she realized that they lied to her and she was kidnapped, in fact. And she then got killed. And that he's also, because he didn't actually believe when Loki was telling him that you're an actual variant too. He actually thought Loki was just being Loki. Because it's hard to fathom that, because your whole reality. And remember, in the first episode when they were talking, they're saying that they've probably been there for hundreds of years.
Yeah, probably more.
Yeah. So to believe that some variant who's a criminal that you brought in to actually capture his counterpart, an alternate version of himself, who's also about to bring down the entire, time stream. He comes in and he literally says, "Oh, you're all variants too. You've been kidnapped." You're not going to believe someone like that. So, I think it was hard. But I think the fact that, I don't know if it's faith that brought them together that way, but I think Mobius always... Yeah, true. That's a good question.
Yeah, we're going to get onto that, especially considering how somebody didn't watch the end.
Yeah, but I think the fact that Mobius had always been the type that questioned things, I think that's why it works so well that Loki was able to talk to him, because he always questioned things. And even Renslayer actually, maybe it's in, unconsciously said things to him, like, for instance, you never use the coasters when you come in with the glass, which means that he's been in there many times. He just does not recall him doing that. So I think those are the things, plus what Loki says, and then he's thinking that things isn't adding up.
Yeah. I think I think it's a possibility that when they get disintegrated, they're actually transported to another part of TVA where their minds are wiped. And then they're just basically, once their minds have, like taking a computer to the computer repair shop and you ask them to just wipe your hard drive. They just do that, and then they just get put back into being an agent at some point.
Yeah, or maybe put back into their own timeline where they were before.
But a timeline but they're variants, so in theory that timeline should be destroyed.
Yeah, but if they're variants, the reason why Loki is a variant is because he went off course.
Yeah.
But if you actually reverse his actions and put him back on course, then, like you said, I think if they erase his mind, as in erase everything that he's known up until that point, and basically just put his mind back to how it was before he went off course, and just put him back in there, then everything would just go back as normal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a possibility as well. As I normally get very confused by time travel stories, so yeah, my brain's hurting already. They could end up in limbo, which is interesting. The demon Sim, from what I recall, Kate is the ruler of limbo, from what I recall, which has a X-Man connection to it. Sim's actually my favorite demon. I think I mentioned this before, but yeah. Sim is awesome. Sim smokes a cigar as well, and he's got a waist jacket. It's cool. He's a lot cooler than Mephisto. Hope you agree, Kay, that Sim is cooler than Mephisto. Sorry. Yeah. Eventually, we end up going to the Timekeepers, and Sylvie's had enough and just decapitates one of the Timekeepers. Turns out they're all androids. Well, not even androids, they're just automations.
But one sec, Manny, before you get there, you know when they actually rescued them, did they really rescue them? Or was it they just tried to stop them from whatever new, dangerous, bigger threat timeline they were actually, their affection for each other was created? Yeah. Because if they were going to die anyway, because think about it, if they didn't rescue them, they would have died and nothing would have happened. You know, your problems would have been solved. But the reason why they rescued them was, it's not necessarily rescued them. I think it was to stop from whatever it was that was happening.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because in that particular time,
yeah, it went straight
that
up.
Was created, was going straight up, and it looked more. It was something that. It was an anomaly to them, but a very dangerous one. It wasn't just like the regular variant one. This was something different.
It's like Loki on Loki Love is the most powerful force in the entire universe.
Yeah, that self-love there, man. It's powerful.
But you're right. So in theory, Lamentis should have just been destroyed and them two should have just died. And that should have been the end of that timeline, and it should have not been an issue.
Yeah.
In theory. But I don't know if their combined deaths have set off some kind of chain reaction. Would they have kissed, and that have like caused some kind of massive energy surge across the universe? Is that how powerful Loki's actually are?
Yeah, that would have destroyed that one main. Because if you think about it, you would have been able to kill two birds with one stone in the sense, because you would have killed them both. And everything would have gone back to normal, and you would have been okay. But the minute now this is my theory. I think had they not had that connection on there, they would have left them to die, because then nothing would have happened. I think the reason why they then intervened was when they saw they got close with each other, and they saw that their affection for each other started to cause some kind of chain reaction to set off a new and more deadly time stream or time branch that was being created. So that's when they intervened. It wasn't to rescue them, it was to like
their first thought was to look after the timeline.
Yeah.
Essentially. So in the episode, there's someone, I can't remember who, but they do make a reference towards that the universe needs chaos. And in the comics, there are two cosmic beings, one called Chaos and one called Order, who both have to exist to give balance to the entire universe. And maybe Lokis are a necessary part of the universe because they offer so much chaos. And without chaos, there would be no balance in the universe. So maybe they have to keep Lokis alive for that reason. Now, Loki is still alive. He wasn't disintegrated. He wasn't. I know you just switched off in anger when Loki got disintegrated and you thought he's dead and you're not going to see him in the last two episodes. So obviously they have their big fight, and Renslayer, before Loki can kiss Sylvie, which again I personally didn't want to see because it's weird. Disintegrates him, and everybody thinks he's dead. He's not. And if you just waited, Davey, you would have seen this. Hopefully, this works.
Well,
Try something new.
Vexed.
I'm trying something new. So he drops down into another timeline. A little portal opens up. He drops down, and this is. I hope you can see this because this is the first time I'm trying this. This is what he sees.
Okay, Renslayer. Oh,
can you see that?
Yeah.
I'll put that up again. So he looks up, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And they're like, "I'm still alive." And they're like, "Oh, if you want to be okay, you got to come with us." So this only stays up there for 5 seconds.
And those are all Lokis.
They're all variant Loki. So the one on the left holding the hammer, he's called Loki. Boast. He's called Boastful Loki.
Oh, I get it, because he's like 6 foot plus, probably an athlete, probably was a basketball player Loki in some, distant time stream Earth, or Asgard, where he's there. He's like the MJ of Lokis, dunking on people there, talking smack.
Yeah, essentially. My God, we can't talk about the post-credits. We have to talk about the post-credits. I went to all this time to get this picture so I can put it up on the stream.
Well, we need to talk about it, Kay, because trust me, I was very vexed.
Loki type 4. Yeah. So I was going to say, so Boastful Loki is actually holding a hammer, which suggests that this Loki is worthy of holding that timeline's version of Monia. And maybe that's why he's boastful, because he's so awesome that he can actually hold Monia. So let me just go back to the picture. Okay, then on the right-hand side, that's Richard E. Grant Classic Loki. So that's the actual outfit which Loki was wearing when he made his debut in Marvel in 1962. In the comics. So that is Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Loki. Exactly how they drew him, with the horns, huge, like the frilly kind of neckwear.
That's so cool that Marvel does that, like they did with Scarlet Witch.
He's kind of wearing a man bag as well for some reason.
Hey, listen. That's the only problem you're going to complain about. Dude's got on his brief over his tights, bright yellow briefs over green tights, and you're complaining about a man bag.
I'm not complaining about it. You like both you and Cody have done multiple times during the day today. You have misinterpreted what I've said. I said for some reason he's got a man bag. He doesn't have one in the comics.
And he's rocking it. He's rocking it 70s style. All he needs now, right, is a cigarette. Like those old 60s ad when they used to.
Here's my man bag. So.
Yeah, but his one is like retro. That's the retro man bag. Literally, all that's missing is like, you remember those old 60s ads for cigarettes where they used to tell you how cool it is to smoke? That's all you need now. He just opens it up, take out a pack of cigarettes, and just puff one away.
I'd happily rock that man bag. It's not an issue, but I'm just wondering if there's something quite important inside that man bag potentially.
Yeah,
he's carrying something.
His man purse.
Okay, so Boastful Loki is in the comics, but obviously Classic Loki is in the comics, and as we all kind of suspected from last week, Classic Loki was going to be Richard E. Grant. There was a theory going around that Richard E. Grant may be a character called He Who Remains. Got some stomach. Okay, I'm not going to body shame.
Let me see. Put it back up now. I need to see that now. Oh yeah. He's got that belly. He's got that. Yeah, I don't give a damn. I got a man bag and I got a pouch.
Yeah. He's also showing off his bulge as well for some reason, quite proudly in that photograph as well.
It was the 60s. Anything is possible there. Like, he has to go out. You're lucky he's not wearing.
Everything went in the 60s.
Yeah, you're lucky he's not wearing those like platform shoes as well with that outfit.
You can't see his feet, so you don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
God, what was I saying? So there was a theory that Richard E. Grant might play He He Who Remains. He Who Remains. I don't know if my brother can help me here as well. He was basically the being that created the timekeepers, I think. I'm pretty sure that's true. Because that'd be like an older gentleman. But yeah, it turns out that's not Richard E. Grant. So Richard E. Grant is very much a classic Loki. Carrying on, then in the middle, we've got Kid Loki or Child Loki in the comics.
You're looking like you're looking for Loki. He's not in your room, Manny B.
Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, we've got like a Child Loki, and that's in the comics. So in the comics, Loki makes a deal with Hela. Now in the comics, I think Hela is actually Loki's daughter, not his sister in the comics.
Ah.
Okay, I'm looking at the comments to help me out. I'm pretty sure that's the case in the comics. But yeah, he makes a deal with Hela. Like, if I die, like in this battle, like, don't send me to hell. Don't give me a place in hell or whatever. So that happens. Loki dies. So his body reincarnates into that of a child. Basically. In the comics.
He just reappeared as a child?
Yeah, he reincarnates as a child.
Oh, so he's got new parents and everything, but it's actually him.
Yeah, it's actually him. So his body dies, but his soul and his being just reincarnates into a child.
Oh,
okay, now this is the most... did you see the fourth Loki in the picture?
There's a fourth Loki. I see three.
Fourth Loki in the picture.
Oh, you mean the animal thing in his hand?
Alligator Loki. See, he's even got the little helmet and everything.
Yeah, I was trying to think I thought it was a pet.
Well, that's the thing. I'm hoping that it is actually a Loki variant and not a pet of Child Loki.
That would be so crazy if it talks as well.
Yeah, that would be amazing if we've got like a talking variant Loki.
All I'm thinking about is oh my god, what's the movie with
Timekeepers, actual aliens from the end of time. Yeah, reincarnated as a kid. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty. I mean, and they basically say to him, "I would like come with us." And again, there's something else you need to. Oh, you can't make it out in that picture, which I've done. I think I've cut it out by accident. On the side, there's a building that very much looks like the Avengers building, which has been burnt to pieces.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like he's been teleported into some kind of ruined New York timeline. Where maybe the Avengers never existed, maybe. But for some reason, all the Lokis from all the different timelines seem to be congregating here.
Or maybe that's a timeline they've sent them. Well, that would be weird because it would be like you're rewarding them. I was going to say maybe that's a timeline where they actually have defeated the Avengers and where Loki had actually destroyed the Earth like he was planning to.
Yeah, maybe.
But then I'm thinking that would be kind of like rewarding him by giving him what he would have done.
Well, this is the thing. So we now know that actually when you are hit by one of those cattle prod machines, you're not disintegrated. You actually, well, very much in Loki's case, you're transported somewhere else. So did the TVA transport all of those Lokis to New York? Or something else happened?
Yeah, maybe there's someone else there where maybe it's supposed to disintegrate you and kill you, because if that was the case, then you wouldn't bring them all the way there.
So yeah, my brother's just saying Thor Love and Thunder may have frog, which is Thor turned into a frog essentially in the comics. So that could be like a link to like alligator Loki or crocodile Loki. Gator Loki, I'm going to call him. So yeah, maybe
Gator don't play that.
So maybe there's like an entire timeline where all of the Asgardians are actually reptiles or amphibians.
That's going to be interesting to see where they go. That's the thing. I mean, with all these things happening, it's like it just leaves so many more possibilities of things that can happen. Where they can go with these stories, and especially with this whole. I think Loki's story is the most interesting. I don't think any other series that Marvel will release will have.
This level of intrigue.
Yeah, because this one, it's got so much intrigue and there's so much variables to take into account where this happens, so this could cause that, which could then lead into another story, another show where it shows you what happens in that reality or in that timeline or whatever. So the possibilities is endless unless at the end of this they find somewhere where it will just all just have it in one, where it would matter which story gets played, it would all still lead to the same end result, i.e., like with all these Lokis, because maybe that's what they're heading towards, where no matter which Loki story we would have watched, they would all end up in this same position, all meeting up towards the same end goal.
Okay, so my brother again, he's quite the expert on the 80s and 90s stories. In comics, Immortus was given control of time by the Timekeepers and lives in a part called Limbo. Is that the same Limbo which Sim hangs out in, Cake, or is that a different Limbo? So Immortus in the comics is actually the same person as Kang the Conqueror, and Kang is also Ramatut. They're just from different parts of the timeline.
Oh, just like how you got Loki, who's Loki, but also Sylvie. So it's just a different version.
Essentially, yeah. And and again, I mentioned it last week, but Kang might be related to Mr. Richards. I guess he's Mr. Richards, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, from the Fantastic
Mr.
Four.
Richards, he's a grown man. You have to give him his respect.
This is true, and he's a lot smarter than I am as well. And he might also be related to Doctor Doom. There's also been that theory as well. But before we move away from this picture, just take it in one last time.
Yeah, that man bag. That's not even a man bag. That's a purse. Look at it. That's a purse. Look at it. That's an actual purse. Look at the handle as well. Can you see the strap, the little smaller strap? That's a woman purse. So you could either use the long one to have it on your shoulder, or if you want to be more ladylike with it, you put it over the forearm while you're having a conversation. So yes, Manny P, yes, I went shopping this week. Oh, hang on, let me get something out there.
Do you think
this is what I bought?
Do you think he's looking at Gator Loki going, if you don't stay in line, I'm going to turn you into my new...
Yes.
You'll become a man bag if you're not careful.
Yeah, my new man purse or phone case.
The future movies will all have variants of Spider-Man 4, Jane Foster, etc. Yeah, I agree. I think what Marvel are quite smartly doing now with the multiverse of madness is they're kind of opening up to other versions. They can just pick out other versions of their characters and just put them into the MCU.
Remember, that's what they're saying is going to happen with Spider-Man, isn't it? Where they're saying you're going to have all three Spider-Man. You're going to have the Disney Spider-Man. Wait, what's his name? Andy? Is it Andy? No, what's his name? Garfield. Andy Garfield?
Garfield the cat, yeah. Praise by Andy Garfield. I think Classic Loki did have a bag in the comics.
Maguire, and the next one.
Carry on talking. I'm just going to Google that.
So that's the possibility. So maybe that's why they've done this, because this is the start of everything that will then make the movies make sense. Because if they do bring all three Spider-Man in that upcoming Spider-Man movie, without having a backstory as to how there's a possibility for a different version of Spider-Man to be coming into this reality, with this now, finding about all these variants and different time stream, and people can actually travel through and go into different alternative worlds. Now that's actually possible. So if you do see that in Spider-Man, it won't be a bit far-fetched where you think, well, how do they go from him fighting Mysterio to now there's three different Spider-Man? So it makes sense now because of this Loki story. So that's why we said, which we did say in one of these episodes, that Loki is the key to everything. Loki literally is like the most important character in the MCU because he's now creating all these different time stream, which will now create the MCU universe.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a quick look through the old comics. I can't find Loki with a bag, but I have a feeling you're right, though. I think he may have had a bag at some point during his 1960s run.
Hey, the man's going out to conquer the world. He's going to bring his purse. There's things in there that he might need.
Well, but where else is he going to carry his passport?
Exactly. You can't. You can't fly. So, he has to go commercial.
Well, not just that. When he goes to down the Rainbow Bridge to see Heimdall to get back into Asgard, Heimdall might ask him for a passport.
That's true. Border control is very important.
Exactly, especially in a place like Asgard, which has so many treasures.
I can see him now, literally just taking out his, going in his purse and then taking out his passport. This is ridiculous. You know who I am? That's me. Yeah, and slam it down with authority, put it back down, and then just put it over his shoulder and just shrugs off. And
Heimdall just looking at him nonplussed, say whatever you want. Well, I'm going to see your passport.
Yeah, rules are rules. Yeah, Loki, with your purse.
Oh God! Do you think maybe his passport expires and Heimdall says, "You can't come in"?
Yeah, I don't know who this is.
I mean, as Guardian citizen, for God's sake, no, you can't come in without a valid passport.
Yes, it's 12:01 on the 15th. Yes, your passport expired on the 14th. I don't know who this is. This could be anyone.
Yeah, exactly. You get some jobs worth. Maybe Heimdall's got a day off, and you got some jobs worth there, at the Rainbow Bridge.
Hence why you need the purse, because then he can go in there, get out his phone, make a call. Yeah, Dad, I'm at the border. Can you bring a new ID? Yeah, my new passport is in the house. I didn't just want to put it in the purse.
Paul's got to fly down with his new passport and and you've got someone there like the executioner who's just wants an easy life and doesn't want any trouble at the border. Yeah. Okay, go on through.
You get that one guy who's just there no, rules are rules, Loki, or whoever you may be, so I don't know who you are.
So this gives us hope that Mobius is still alive as well.
Yeah, if he really got prodded. Sounds a bit weird saying that. Yeah, but if he got erased.
Have you been double jabbed? I've been single jabbed and been jabbed again next week after next. My brother's just checking up on me, just making sure I'm okay. And
you can't be out here streaming and doing Loki podcast and not, had your.
Apparently 11 NHS says there's no COVID in Asgard, so maybe you need a COVID passport to get into Asgard as well. They're
yeah, Loki come out there not realizing he left a year ago, everything was fine. Come back now, yeah, you can't come in. Have you been vaccinated?
Well, exactly.
Your passport.
Odin is technically a vulnerable adult, so you can't be giving COVID to Odin because he would be in the at-risk group, surely.
Yeah, I can just see that now. You've got one of Odin's neighbors, who's in a castle next door, watching, yes, hello. Yes, Odin has got more than 5 people in his garden. Yeah, they're not wearing masks and they're having a barbecue.
They're not part of his family unit either.
Yeah, they're not part of the bubble. Yeah, they're not part of the bubble. Yep. Send the police around.
And Odin's I employed 200 soldiers. They're all in my bubble. God damn it.
Yeah, this is not part of his emotional support bubble. Yeah, why are they here? You're killing us, Odin. You're killing all of us. Stay home. Save lives.
Oh God, and could just imagine Thor flying around with his surgical mask on. Just
right. Yeah. We just spotted Thor. Yep. Yeah, he's out. Yes, and we've got a pandemic, and he's out flying around, going from house to house. Doesn't care that he's killing all of us.
He's just flying around, breathing on people without wearing a mask.
Yeah. Literally. Lifting and touching stuff without no gloves.
So
he doesn't
selfish.
wear a glove. He doesn't wear a glove, does he?
So selfish. And yeah, he's not using hand sanitizer when he picks up the hammer or anything. He's just a bad human being. Bad God.
That's the see, but that's why Richard E. Grant Loki's the man, because in that purse,
he's got his sanitizer. He's got sanitizer.
He's got sanitizer. He's got handy wet wipes. He's got
he's got his mask. Yeah, he's got his antibacterial wipes and everything.
Oh, that is, oh my God.
It's sorry, we've totally gone off course here. We've we've fantasy booked
yeah, but see, that's
COVID pandemic entering Asgard.
Exactly. And what do? You bring a bit of reality, what's happening in the world into it, a little light humor to help it. And I guarantee there's going to be someone watching this that's going to be imagining that now, thinking, oh my God, I could see that now.
Yeah, I could imagine like them like saying to the Asgardians, like, don't go and visit the frost giants. They've got like compromised immune systems because they don't really interact with other people too much. So they're, don't go and interact with them. They're really vulnerable to frost giants. Anyway, we'll move away from that. So I think this brings us on to the ultimate question: who is in charge of the TVA? Because we now know the timekeepers don't exist. Well, at least they don't exist now. Whether they existed in the past or not in the MCU, I don't know.
Oh, so what if they are? There's another one. What if the timekeepers are actual hostages as well? What if they've been kidnapped by whoever is now running the show, and possibly they're doing all these things under the pretense saying it's them, when really and truly they're also victims too.
So yeah, it's the person behind the curtain. So essentially, we've got like a Wizard of Oz kind of story going on here, where who is actually the real ruler behind the curtain?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to hear what. But then, how can you really trust anything that Renslayer will say? Because when people are in a desperate situation, doesn't mean they're going to give you honest truth. They're going to tell you what you want to hear, just to get themselves out of that situation. So unless you've got something on her that you can use, that will leave her no choice but to tell the actual truth. Often when you use fear, you won't really get the truth. You'll get what you want to hear or what you think you want to hear.
Yeah.
But you don't know if it's really the truth or whatever. But I think whatever is going on, regardless, I think whatever is going on, I think she knows exactly what's going on and she's a part of it.
Well, I am still on the Kang train.
Yeah, I mean, now with seeing how yesterday, because remember last week we were saying that maybe there's not even any timekeepers. Maybe it's just all a lie.
And we called it, didn't we? That's exactly what we both said last week. We said, are the timekeepers even real? Because we both thought they might not be real.
And then when we saw them this week, I'm thinking, oh my God, they do look real. But then you saw that they're not. They were just
straight away. You knew something wasn't up as well, because the way they looked and the way they were talking, it was a bit like something weird about these guys.
Yeah, but it's then it makes you think: did those guards who was inside there, were they aware that the timekeepers were not real? That they were just AI? In fact, I mean, just going by what we've seen now. Before I was thinking, nah, it can't possibly be Kang. But now, with everything that we're seeing, it's a very real possibility that might actually be who is really running, pulling all the strings now.
Yeah, I mean,
unless by some twist of fate, it's a more twisted version of a Loki that's actually doing all of this.
Something that's actually
Loki.
That's a really good shout. Is there another Loki? And maybe that's why he's got an affinity with the other Lokis and is so interested in these other Lokis, because this real power is the Loki themselves.
Yeah, because what's Loki's thing? Loki is a trickster. He always wants to see if, when he does stuff, if you're smart enough to actually unravel it.
Yeah, so my brother thinks that can maybe refer to as Immortus, but not seen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see come next week to see who exactly. Maybe it's that little time. What's that little time thing? The little cartoon clock.
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. Maybe that's who's running the show.
That's something. It could be. It could be. Maybe we have totally underestimated. Maybe I'm being serious as well. Like maybe Miss Minutes plays a far bigger role
Then we realize, yeah.
because they made a big deal about casting Tara Strong as the voice actor for Miss Minutes. So maybe she does play a bigger role.
Can't trust a cartoon clock wearing what looks like Converse sneakers. You can't trust them. So
I wear Converse.
Yeah, but you're not a cartoon clock.
This is fair. This is fair.
All that's missing is a purse like, classic Loki, and then it's a full-blown villain. What's all sorts is in there, but well, we'll see. I mean,
okay.
I'm definitely looking forward to it next.
What's this showing off your muscles? I'm just gonna go stream for a sec. I'll be back.
Yes, I'm definitely going to be checking out next week's episodes. I mean, we're now coming down the final stretch, literally just 2 more to go. So it's going to be interesting just to see exactly
I'm just going to
what happens. There you go. That it's not the same type of purse. His one is
the best I can do.
You need the one with the little handles as well as the big strap. So you can go vintage long handle, or if you're feeling a bit more eccentric, you just have the little one on there, while having a casual conversation.
It's the best I can do.
Yeah, I like it though. So what's your prediction, Manny? What's your
listen? The actor who plays Kang in the upcoming Ant-Man movie has said that he's not in Loki and he doesn't know what people are talking about. But Marvel actors have lied before.
Yeah, because they all have to sign all these NDAs.
Yeah. And even if he's not in it, they can still mention his name. And
or maybe it's another version of him.
Yeah, essentially. But there is an entire council of Kangs in the comics. There's hundreds of them who all get together and have meetings. In the comics, though, it's worth saying Kang, I'm sure my brother will correct me if I'm wrong, Kang likes there to be multiple timelines. He actually likes timelines because...
Yeah, I think so. It would make sense for him to try and conquer as many as he could.
Not just that, but he sees each one as a resource for him. He can pluck whatever he wants out of those timelines, or he can hide in those timelines, and he can manipulate this timeline that way. But on the other hand, I can manipulate this timeline in this way as well. So I think Renslayer, I think she knows that the timekeepers aren't real, and she's essentially helping Kang, who in the comics she has it's a bit of an unrequited thing actually. Kang likes Renslayer, but Renslayer doesn't really like Kang back. But then Renslayer's
version of her likes him.
But then Renslayer sacrifices herself to save Kang from being shot, and dives in front of the bullet or the laser beam, whatever it was. So there was some kind of feeling for Kang from Renslayer. So I just think, why put Renslayer in the program if it's not going to be a link to Kang?
But then also now, I just thought of something else. Last week when we saw that building that was going to fall on them and somehow time was reversed, was it really them or is there another?
Okay, people have done more research, and apparently there are examples of Loki having that telekinesis power. So it wasn't a time stone, which I'm gutted about. But yeah.
Oh, so it was just telekinesis. It's
just over speculation by people. So I think that's the entire episode. Yeah, as I said, I think I'm not even going to speculate what's going to happen with all the Lokis hanging out together. I'm just going to sit back and look forward to it because I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Richard E. Grant interacting with Tom Hiddleston.
You know what I'm laughing about, Matty P? You know, earlier we were talking about Sylvie when she basically got kidnapped. You know, young child Sylvie that got kidnapped. Maybe classic Loki has got a complaints form in his mad purse as well.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like, he's there like, yes, I'm Loki. When you go back and you see Sylvie, give her this form. I've crossed all the parts that she needs to fill in, in regards to her complaints that happened 200 years ago in regards to getting kidnapped, and she sends it to this department. They'll actually escalate the situation further for her and action will be taken.
I think it's maybe classic Loki is actually the TVA social worker. It's
And he was on lunch break. He was on a delayed long lunch break.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean I missed my one and only client I'm going to get in the next 100 years? God damn it. So brother says WandaVision had many Easter eggs that went nowhere. I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I was going to end with. Because WandaVision did have a lot of Easter eggs which they didn't pay off on. But I think they are going to pay off on them.
You're right. When all these other shows come together, then everything will just add up.
So there was a few articles in the internet news this week about WandaVision. I don't know if you saw them.
No.
They've actually re-edited the last scene from WandaVision. The last episode, so you know the scene where the camera goes over the lake towards the cabin where Wanda's staying.
Yeah.
They haven't done a huge amount to it. But what they've basically done is there were like a few ducks or birds in the water. They've taken them out. And they've put more trees around the cabin. Now, I was talking to one of my friends and he said, it's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. It was more dark as well. So they've actually darkened the scene as well. It's not as light anymore.
Yeah, because she is going dark, isn't she? So it's
okay, maybe it is a post-production thing and some directors sat there and gone, actually, it would be really good if it looks like this. But would you really go to all that trouble to edit all that stuff in after the TV show has already been aired on Disney Plus?
I think it's like he says. I think once all these shows come out and all these Easter eggs get put together and all these little touches, what they do, I think even the whole when the end when Loki's finishing and it's got the whole where you just see the writing down in that book, because it's always the same, isn't it? The writing down in that book. What are they writing down? Maybe all of this will lead to something at some point.
Okay. So I didn't know that they've actually taken out the bit where she's drinking coffee as well. So I mean, why would you go to all that trouble to do that? I think that scene is somehow, and other people on the internet have speculated this as well. Multiple other channels have speculated this, and I agree with them. Potentially, that scene is going to directly link onto Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, and Doctor Strange is going to maybe visit Wanda in that cabin, but it's got to look like how it looks in the movie. So maybe they've changed it so that it will match up
the way makes more sense, as opposed to just like the TV version of it.
I think there's something. I think they've done that for a reason. You're not going to pay an editor and a director like OT just to do that. It's just, I mean, you might do. I mean, maybe Disney like that, but it just seems a bit overkill.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. In fact, even before I did that, I'm going to actually, as we finish and we do our post-production debriefing, as that's finished, I'm gonna go and watch episode 4 all over again because I did not see that, so I'm definitely gonna watch it all over again.
Cool. Well, I think we've covered everything. Is there anything you want to say to the people watching at home before we depart?
No, as usual, thank you all as usual for tuning in. It's getting its flow now. If you can, it seems that Manny P definitely wants one of those classic Loki man purse for Christmas. So yeah, I guarantee you'll throw that one away for the man purse.
You probably somebody buys me it, I'll wear it everywhere. I'll wear it to bed. I'll wear it. I'll have it on in the shower. I'll be like scrubbing it with shower gel.
Christmas is not that far away now, Manny P. So
yeah. So I'll do all those things.
Yeah, that's it really. I mean, the only thing else is just our usual. We're gonna drop some more music reaction videos and things like that. So just keep the comments coming in. We appreciate them, and also keep the numbers going up. We're trying to get to 100 before the summer is over. So
100 subs. We're 12 away. We're 12 away. So
yes.
that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. Anyway, I bid all of you farewell.
Davie, be out.